Hello everyone, this is Diane and I have a new project to show. This is made from a binder, an old binder that had old envelopes in it that I found at the Salvation Army. And I bought it for the envelopes, which I will show you because they're included in this book. But I wasn't sure what I would do with the binder or the envelopes, but I finally came up with this idea. I wanted to make a junk journal. So it's kind of a junk journal, but it also has scrapbook pages that weren't actually scraps. They're just pages that I liked and pages I've been hoarding. So it's kind of a half of a junk journal and half smash book, I guess. But before I get into showing you this, let me just quickly go through some of the things that were used in this book. For the covers and the outer covers and inside covers, I used some pages out of this K & Company Best of Brenda Walton. So they're not the cardstock pages, they're the thin one-sided sheets. And I used some of these pages, the more vintagey looking things from this collection on the covers. I also had this little tablet that I got for 50 cents at Staples a while back on clearance, and it has some really cool pages in it. Today I will blank and blank. Yes, I am awesome. Today is the perfect day for blank and blank. So I used some of those things in it. I also have a huge, giant Norman Rockwell art book that I bought at the library for $3. And I love Norman Rockwell. I have quite a few art books of his, but this one I bought just to cut up and use because it's just so gigantic. It's 12 inches wide and I think 18 inches high, long. So I used some of the pages out of that. Here's another book I got at the library. My husband and I and my family, we love to watch Jeopardy. And I do plan on reading this book, but I took a page out of this book. This is a tablet that I purchased a long time ago, and it's like replicas of old printers, logos, and their papers. So I used a couple of pages out of this. It's really neat paper. This reproduction Dick and Jane book, I took a page out of that. An old Singer sewing book that I picked up at the library. I used some pages out of that. And then these are the Stampin Up Epic Day stickers that I showed in my haul video. I used a few of those. And I have several books of these journaling cards that you can get at the craft stores. And I don't have the cover sheets, so I don't know the brands of them, but I have this one and this one. So I used some of my cutout journaling cards that you can buy on these little tablets. And here's another one of them that was on craft paper, which I really love that. And here's what I'd been hoarding. My Mind's Eye life stories. When I first started making smash books, I had seen something made with these papers on YouTube, and I hunted for it on the internet until I found it. And then I ordered some of the tablets and some of the cards. You could get cards individually, so I ordered some of those. Some of the cards are big. Some of the papers you cut up into cards, and some of them you use the full sheet. So I had a bunch of these that I had saved to use in a project, and this is the project I decided to use it in. So I'm very excited that I was able to use these. This is what I have left over. And this is also something I showed in my haul video. It's the, is it Recollections or Die Cuts with a View? Recollections. Memories documented paper, and I had shown this on my video because it had so many pages in the front that you could cut up into different size cards, journaling tags, just different pieces. And this is what I have left over from that. And I didn't use any of the full pages yet. So that's basically what I used throughout the book. And here is the book. And as I said, it was an old binder, and it's over 12 inches long. I was able to use 12-inch paper without cutting it lengthwise, and about a 6-inch or a little over a 6-inch paper would fit in it. So it really worked out to use some of the papers I liked without having to chop off the top or the bottom of them. And I used some ecru trim here and glued it on, and stuck on some of those Recollections Anaglyphic 45 card, and some little flowers with a little bit of bling in the centers. And I put a little crystal effects inside the camera lens there. This is one of the Tim Holtz knobs. And you're supposed to be able to punch a hole, which I did, and put something in the back, the part in the back, and then screw the knob on. But this cover is a little bit padded, plus I had it on the lace, so it wouldn't screw on, it was too thick. So I used crystal effects and glued that on. And here's the inside. And this binder is really neat because it opens completely up like that, so it opens flat, and I love it. This was the paper that was in the binder to begin with. It says important papers, a convenient binder for the safekeeping of insurance policies, income tax reports, tax receipts, etc. So I will show you some of the envelopes that came in here that I loved, and they are all included in here. And this is the back of that introduction sheet. Isn't that neat? Payment record. And here's one of those My Mind's Eye cards. This is something I printed off the internet. It printed off much larger than I expected it to, but it used a lot of ink, so I didn't want to throw it away. So I just covered up the back, decorated the back up, and put it in my book. Stampin' Up paper with one of the Stampin' Up stickers. This is the Soho Subway paper. This isn't working very well the way I have to keep holding my book up. Let me try to adjust things. Why do you be able to see this? This is the Soho Subway paper that has, I glued cards taken off of Recollections and My Mind's Eye and glued them on there. And this is a page from a mini album that a friend of mine had started to make, but it tore. The cover of it tore, so she quit making it, and she gave it to me, and I just took this page out of it because she had put this little pull-out in it, and I liked it, so I included that on my book. This is a journaling spot that I made. It is just made with a piece of ledger paper that I had printed off the internet, and then I cut out this with the Cricut, I think, and stapled on a ribbon. Made a cute little journaling tag. This is a sheet. Oh, I'm trying to adjust this so that you can see it. I don't know why I don't have things set up correctly. This is one of those My Mind's Eye sheets. It's really a neat piece of paper, and I didn't want to lose any of it, so I just cut it in half and put both sides in. And the back of them are just plain crafts, so I decorated them up with some smash cards and other various cutouts. Here's a page from that Singer sewing book, and I took a scrap piece of paper and stitched it on. I used a zigzag stitch on the edge and then a running stitch down the middle. I thought it was appropriate to stitch on an edge on the sewing book paper. And here's one of the My Mind's Eye cards. It got stitched right in there, and I can just slip that card right in there. Here's one of the envelopes that came in the book. It's kind of a craft, but it's shiny a bit, and it has lines, it says memoranda, and it has lines, and whoever owned this notebook, this binder, wrote cards on it, and I included these really neat Recollections and My Mind's Eye cards in all of these envelopes. Here's another piece of the Stampin' Up Soho Subway paper. Here's a page from a mini book, a mini album that I was making, but I didn't cut it correctly. It was a little too short for the dimensions of the book. So I just included it here, and I inserted this little My Mind's Eye card in there and glued on some of them here. Little scrap paper from the Once Upon a Time collection. And on the white back part, I just glued on some yellow lined paper and a border sticker that I had, and just a little scrap. Here's another page from My Mind's Eye Life Stories. It's a celebration tracker, and I just folded that so that it would fit in the book, and then glued on this sheet of a daily list, and that came from, a whole tablet of these came from Walmart, I believe. and I put smash tape on there. Here's some of that printer's paper. Here's a pocket that I made because I had seen it on YouTube, and an idea for this, and I thought it was really cute, so I just made it one day. And so I found it while I was making this, and I included it in here, and it fits these cards quite nicely. These are the Stampin' Up! Stickers. My friend gave me a Bo Bunny, I think it's called Little Miss, and I love the papers, and it's not a junk journal paper, it's really pretty paper, not scraps, but I like them, so I included them. And this is one of the stickers that came with the collection, and this is from the Recollections Memories Documented book. A scrap piece of K & Company paper here. A little tiny page from a little tiny Beatrix Potter book. And I used Tim Holtz reinforcements on some of the book pages that might tear on these binder rings. I love these binder rings because they're so deep. But I managed to fill it right up. This is a scrap of old Stampin' Up! Paper, and I just put a piece of scrapbook scrap on it. Another one of the envelopes, and this one says insurance, car, and something else on it. I just love that it has, I might cover them up with tape, or I might just leave the writing on there just because it's pretty neat. And these are some more of the cards that I've included. I want to make sure I don't go over 15 minutes. I think this is going to be a two-part video. This is from a file folder. I saw this idea on YouTube, and I cannot remember whose video it was, but this is just half of the file folder, and then you fold it, and I made this pocket to put on it, distressed it, and just added papers, put some tags in here. This is actually a card from an old Masterpiece game that I bought at the Salvation Army. It has cards with artwork on them. And here's the other side of it. It's got a cup. This is a strip cut from an old Stampin' Up! Paper, and a border strip and a little flower. And then on the back I just included a little journaling tag. Here's the page from the Dick and Jane book, and I also stitched a border on that and stitched this pennant border left over from some scrapbook paper on there. This is a little scrap from the Pink Paisley, it's upside down, Pink Paisley Daily Junk. I love this paper, so I use up all the little bits and pieces, and I stamped notes and that bracket on there. And here's my Mind's Eye card, and here's another My Mind's Eye paper. It says things to do around the house, and here's one of those sheets from the tablet I bought at Staples. Tomorrow I don't have to blank and blank because it's done. It's another piece of the Bo Bunny Little Miss, and I put a vellum envelope there and inserted one of these cards from the Michael's dollar spot. $1.50 spot, I should say. And a little piece of Tim Holtz paper. I put this little tab on it. And this is a page out of an old paperback book that I had about King Arthur and Merlin. So I just cut out ripped out the map page and glued this paper, and used those strips of washi tape to decorate it, and then used eyelets to put this tab on, and the tab I had cut from my Cricut. And I'm going to stop the video right here and pick up with part 2.